make sure that the buildings or communities that we're going to develop or build are of quality and are built as intended. Since nga po meron tayong plan na hinanda, yung pag-build nila is in alignment with the plan that we did. At masasagot yan and more ng ating final technical session for today. Next slide, please. So to discuss this topic, let us once again welcome our resource speaker from the Housing and Real Estate Development Regulation Division, Engineer Godfrey A. Corrin. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
So yun, good afternoon sa ating mga participants, sa NGUs, and sa kasama po natin, government agencies employees. So before po ako mag-start, na-discuss ni Engineer Christian yung mga policies updated, DC, DO, MCs na in-issue ng aming office. So, ngayon po, mag-focus lang tayo sa isang regulatory application, which is yun, sa alteration ng plan. So, sino po sa atin, or sa division natin, or sa office natin, ang nakapag-process na ng alteration of plan? Sa mga LGUs. Anyone? Okay, so previously, ang application ng alteration for a subdivision is ina-apply kay LGU. And then, nagkaroon ng department or ng court order na based on sa EO, ang na-devolve lang kay LGU is yung approval ng development permit. So therefore, naiwan ang functions for the approval ng alteration sa Department of Human Settlement or the HLURB, formerly HLURB, and now issued yung approval ng alteration of land. So yun nga, diniscuss din dyan, please tayo kanina yung mga updates, policies, procedures, rules. So kasama doon sa update na yun, is yung application natin for the alteration. So i-discuss natin later kung ano yung naging updates, kung ano yung mga dapat consider, and kung ano yung dapat i-check muna bago mag-apply ng alteration of land. So ano ba yung coverage ng alteration of land? So, syempre, kung merong approval ng Clean Estate Management, meron ding alteration of land. Kailan ba nangyayari ang alteration of land? Anyone? So, nangyayari ang alteration of land kapag meron ng existing na approved plans, it's either development permit from the LGU or development permit from the DSUD. So, dun sa bago lumabas na DC, kasama doon yung updated procedure, rules, and documentary requirements na kailangan i-provide for the approval ng alteration. So, yun. So, based on dito sa bagong DC natin, ang sabi niya, lahat ng approval ng alteration shall be submitted. Okay? Submitted by the regional office to the concerned LGU within 5 days. So therefore, kung na-approvahan ngayon, dapat may 5 days ma-forward or ma-endorse sa LGU yung alteration ng plan natin para updated din sa LGU dun sa approval natin. Approval ng documentation. So ito, so merong dalawang reason kung bakit tayo nag-apply ng alteration. Number 1, alteration plan based on the initiative ng developer, and number 2, rectification, alteration of plan based on the erroneous issuance of development permit. So meron po bang makakapagsabi sa akin kung ano yung difference ng dalawa? Ikot ako, kaya yun ang si Christian. Hindi tayo sa pakwento kong LG. Kay Sir, sa Valenzuela. Sir, anong difference po? Sa tingin niyo po, ano yung difference ng dalawa? Alteration based on the initiative ng developer at saka rectification.
Siguro yung din sa initiative of the developer. Meron pang silang nakita na mas may improve yung plan nila na para dun sa development nila. Tapos dun sa rectification, ayun nga, yung issuance of development permit. May mga instances kasi na hindi anticipate during planning. So, yun siguro yung possible reason.
Yes, sir. Tama. Tama yun, sir. So, anyhow, based dyan sa bagong DC natin, meron ka pa rin i-rectify, babaguhin, based on the existing or based on the approved plans ng LGU at saka ng issue. So, mamaya malalaman natin kung ano yung difference ng dalawa. So, sabi nyo sa DC, no owner developer, so pinapakit lang dito, owner and developer, no third party, contractor, anything, hindi kasama. So, owner and developer shall change or alter the road, open spaces, infrastructures, facilities for public use, or other form of any other component of subdivision, condominium, cemetery, or columbarium development as contained in the approved subdivision plan or represented in its advertisement without approval. So, ibig sabihin dito, hindi tayo pwede mag-alter ng any plans kung walang approval ng issue. Bakit? Kasi magkakaroon tayo ng violation kapag na-monitor natin yun na walang approval. So, kailangan, bago natin gawin, yung proposed plan natin, kailangan meron mo ng approval from the issue. And then, developers, sa developer alteration of plan based on the initiative of the developer, buyer will refuse to give their consent. Okay? Shall be entitled to refund. Pero if, syempre, if it is shown that they are affected by the said alteration. So one of the requirements natin yan mamaya, i-discuss natin kung ano yung requirements na yun. So furthermore, ito yung sinasabi ko difference ng dalawa. Provided further that the application of alteration is filed before the period of completion of the development as indicated in the license cell. So, under this mode of alteration, certificate of registration and license cell of the concerned development has already been issued. So, ibig sabihin, sa mode na to, sa unang mode, sa letter A, kailangan meron na siyang certificate of registration and license cell. So, we therefore conclude na dun sa pangalawa, wala pa siyang certificate of registration and license to sell. Okay? So, in-update lang naman based on dun sa DC natin, nag-update lang tayo ng mga documentary requirements based on sa application ng alteration of plan. So, number one, letter stating the reason of the proposed alteration. So, sa developer, mag-letter sa issue, kung ano yung alteration niya, naka-indicate doon, naka-breakdown. And bakit siya mag-alter? One of the requirements dito yan. Number two sets of the proposed plan. So, hindi lang po naisama doon sa GC natin, pero sa regional office, we prepared po na dapat naka-revise daw. Para at least, initially, makikita na agad natin kung ano yung naging change or ano naging alteration dun sa existing or the existing approved plan. So it helps us, sa regional office, para ma-evaluate po natin thoroughly kung ano yung naging changes dun sa existing plan. Number 3, ito medyo mabigat kasi in-empower niya talaga yung Presidential Decree 957 yung BP220, which is the Buyer's Protection Decree. Nakalagay dito, deed conformity of the duly organized HOA, at lang natin, HOA or subdivision, condominium corporation, and consent by the majority of the lot home unit buyers. So, ibig sabihin, unit buyers ka pa lang, meron ka ng karapatan. May rights ka na. to oppose kung makikita mo na affected ka ng alteration na yun. Number 4, tabulated summary of alteration introduced in the project, including the affected areas in square meter, or kapag condominium, it includes per floor. So, naka-identify doon kung cluster building, per building, kung isang building lang, per floor, para ma-identify natin and easy lang yung evaluation ng regional office to identify kung ano yung naging alteration or naging changes doon sa existing plan. So number 5, kanina pinakita nyo sa yung compliance to socialized housing as amended by RA 1084. So, isinama siya as part of the requirements kasi if ever na mayroong additional cost or additional area dahil dun sa alteration, you are required to comply with the additional compliance kung meron man existing. Number 6, approve an amended master deed with declaration of restriction. So ito, usually ginagamit ito sa mga condominium projects. Kailangan in line yung proposed plan dun sa amended ng master deed natin. Which is, currently meron siya sariling process yung amendment ng master deed. Pero dahil sa bagong DC, isinama na yung amended master deed sa pagka-apply and pagka-approve ng isang elevation plan. Number 7, latest status report. So, doon sa status report, naka-identify lang kung ilan yung nabenta, magkano yung benta, kung sold, unsold, transfer. So, ang nagbibigay ng ang nagsicertify yun is usually mga manager ng PMO, yung representative ng isang developer. It will depend. Basta dapat, yung magsicertify nun is legally part ng developer. And then number 8, duly notarized fact sheet as I said kanina, kung merong additional cost dahil dun sa alteration, it will result dun sa additional compliance natin. So vital documents din yung duly notarized fact sheet. And lastly, yung site inspection report duly issued by RO or regional office as a result of valid application for alteration. So may mga instances, i-inspect yan, which is mamaya i-elaborate ko, inspectionin ng part of monitoring unit natin, yung isang project to validate and check kung meron bang changes or tapos na ba yung completion date nila or meron na ba silang slippage dun sa completion date nila. So one of the factor din yan para sa inspection report natin. So ito is para sa application ng subdivision and condominium as well as the columbarium and cemetery. So ito naman yung next. Yung rectification of alteration based on erroneous issuance of development permit. Under this mode of rectification alteration, certificate of registration and license to sell of concerned development has not yet issued. So kanina, pinag-usapan natin na mag-a-apply ka ng alteration dahil meron ka ng license to sell. So yun yung mga requirements, yun yung mga considerations. Ito naman po ngayon, ito naman yung documentation at consideration kapag wala ka pa ang certificate of registration and license to sell na ini-issue ng aming office. So malinaw po tayo na. Yung una, alteration based on sa initiative ng developer. So ibig sabihin, may license to sell na yun. Dito sa pangalawa, rectification dahil wala pa siya ang certificate of registration and license to sell. Okay, for subdivision. So, in the course of evaluation of application of CRLS, so it means, in this case, meron siyang application ng certificate of registration and license to sell sa aming regional office. So kasi nga wala pa siyang license to sell eh. Diba, noong una meron na, ito ngayon wala pa. So mag-a-apply pa lang siya ng certificate of registration, license to sell. And the should finds that the concerned LGU overlooked or mistaken applied certain law and rules and standards issuing development permit. So parang lumalabas, meron lang siguro na overlook, nagkamali, based on those issues ng development permit. So kailangan mag-alter. The issued RO shall begin 30 days from the receipt of application of CRLS, suspended further action to the said application and return the same in the concerned LGU with complete evaluation report indicating the specific findings. So ganito magiging process kapag nawala pa yung license sa cell dahil nga mag-apply siya ng license sa cell, i-evaluate yun ng regional office. And then kapag meron siyang nakita o meron siyang napansin na sabi nito, mistakenly applied certain rules and regulation, mag-i-endorse ang regional office kay LGU within 30 days. So, ibig sabihin, si regional office ang mag-i-endorse directly kay LGU. And then, magsasabing siya ng complete evaluation report indicating kung ano yung naging violation or kung ano yung rules na dapat i-apply sa ganitong certain na project. So sana ano po sa mga LGU, kapag kami na-receive po kayo mga letters from the issue, makonsider niyo po makapag-acted upon na tayo. Kasi binibigyan lang natin po kayo ng 30 days or nagbibigyan lang po kami ng 30 days para maiayos or maitama kung ano man yung nakalagay dun sa development permit at saka development plan na hindi po in conformance with the Presidential Decree 957 and DP 220. So, binigyan namin kayo ng 30 days to act upon. Anong gagawin kapag hindi tayo nakapag-act o hindi natin naayos? So, ang gagawin natin, upon lapse of 30 days suspension, kasi nakasuspend yung application ng CRLS dahil na gusto natin ayusin or i-inline yung development permit, and then hindi nakapag-act upon si LGU within 30 days, the issued RO or the regional office shall issue an order to the applicant, the owner developer, to cause the rectification of the approved subdivision development plan and development permit by requiring the applicant to submit an application together with the revised subdivision development plan in accordance with the standard provided by the law. So, ibig sabihin, kapag si LGU ay hindi nakapag-act within 30 days, si regional office, kung saan man in-apply, yung CRLS, will issue an order to the developer. And nakalagay dun sa order na yon na kailangan yung mag-apply ng alteration sa aming office na. So, ibig sabihin, kami na mag-issue or si regional office na mag-issue ng alteration dahil hindi nakapag-act with a specific time sa LGU. So, sana makikaw tayo doon, ma'am, sir, sa mga LGU po natin na nag-a-approve ng mga or nag-aayos ng development permit. At baka mamaya, nagkaroon lang ng renumbering, nagkamali number, mga faces, ganyan. So, binibigyan natin ng chance sa LGU para ma-inline niya yung issuance niya doon sa approved plans natin na i-apply for the certificate of registration. So, huwag kayo magkukulat kung kami mismo sa regional office ang mag-i-endorse sa LGU para i-correct or ayusin yung issuance ng development permit. So I think hindi pa siya alteration kapag nasa level pa ng LGU. So baka pwede lang sila mag-issue ng development permit ulit na naka-inline na dun sa tamang plans. So pwede yun. Possible yun. Next naman po, for the review, so as we all know, the approval of the development permit, si DSUD po ang nag-approve ng lahat ng development permit for the condominium. That is fixed po. Sa lahat ng LGU po natin, pag condominium po ang usapan, ang approval po ng development permit is kay DSUD. Only development permit for subdivision plans, townhouses, or para masabi natin, kapag mayroong transfer ng TCT, Transfer Certificate of Title, Ang development permit po niyan is kay LGU. Kapag ang transfer natin ng title CCP, Condominium Certificate of Title, automatic po yan kay issue ng approval ng development permit. Okay? So, in the case na nakita na merong na-overlook or na-mistaken doon sa approval ng development permit sa issue, ang mangyayari niyan, i-rectify yun or aayusin yung issuance na yun ng District Regional Office within 7 days. Kasi same sa process ng subdivision, ma-identify lang yun kapag nag-apply na siya ng license to sell. And then bibigyan si NG ng 30 days. Ngayon, in this mode, kapag ang approval or alteration is condominium, so binibigyan lang ng 7 days. Kita po natin. 7 days to approve the plan. So kasi syempre, regional office lang po yun, mas madali natin mag-coordinate. So mapaprioritize po, binibigyan lang tayo ng 7 days na ma-rectify yung issuance natin. Unlike kay LGU, 30 days. Okay, so thereafter, once the altered plan is approved, altered plans has been issued, the process of application of CRLS shall continue. So, syempre, upon issuance ng approved plan, dahil nga sa part ng regional office, yung pag-rectify ng issuance ng development plan. So, syempre, the process of CRLS shall continue. And then, ito yung medyo magandang part kasi payment of application fee for alteration shall be waived. So, ang difference nun, dahil na sa part ng regional office, ang pagkakamali, so therefore, ang issuance ng alteration natin and payment shall be waived. Hindi siya babayaran. Okay, please take note that po. So, kung may mga kakilala tayo ng developer, at least updated po tayo. Wait na po yung processing fee natin for the alteration kasi ang may pagkakamali po is sa regional office. So dapat sa regional office po ang gumawa ng paraan o prioritize para i-issue yung tamang plans in accordance with the PDM 57 and DB 220. And then after, no fee shall be required for the processing of the application to RLS kasi nga upon 7 days, naka-hold or naka-suspend yung application natin ng license to sell. So dahil naka-suspend siya, kailangan mo nang i-rectify yung in-issue na development permit. So ang magiging process niyan, yung issuance natin, yung payment, and then pag na-rectify na, magko-continuous na ulit yung process natin ng alteration. Ang process ng license to sell, sorry. Kasi naka-suspend siya eh. Dahil nga doon sa rectification. Okay, so, kung mapapansin natin, mas konti yung requirements kapag ang project natin ay wala pang certificate of registration and license to sell. Which is, ang pinaka-mabigat doon is yung conformity and yung consent. Pero dahil ina-assume natin yung mag-apply siya ng alteration, dahil wala pa siya mga buyers, wala pa siya license to sell, so 5 lang yung requirements natin for the rectification. So number 1, letters stating the proposed application. Number 2, yung proposed plan. Which is same, kailangan, mas better sa part ng regional office na revised cloud. Or sa mga technical natin, mapapansin natin yung mga cloud. So it symbolizes na merong naging change doon sa original plans. Number 3, tabulated summary of alteration introduced in the project. So same lang naman doon sa submitted documents natin sa una. Same lang sa ngayon. Kasi naka-identify lang siya kung per building, per level, with area of affected area. In terms of square meter. And then, syempre, number 4, yung authorized fact sheet. And then yung number 5, site inspection report. So yan po ang complete turnaround natin ng application sa alteration, the consideration, kung meron na pa siyang license to sell or wala pa. Kasi it will depend kung ano yung requirements, kung ano yung mga kailangan mong i-submit. It will depend kung meron na ba siyang license to sell or wala. The more, mas better kung ayusin natin yung documents natin nang wala pa siyang license to sell. Dahil kapag meron na siyang license to sell, mas maraming requirements na ipapapuntay ng aming office. Dahil nga meron na tayong pinoprotektahan ng mga buyers. Please take note po dun sa dalawa. Developer's initiative and then application of alteration due to rectification of erroneous issuance of the development permit. So if ever na meron po kayong question with regards sa application ng alteration, kasi alteration is one of the regulatory function po ng aming office. Meron pa po tayong development permit, license to sell, extension of time, COC, and then the alteration. Yan po yung regulatory function ng aming office. So kung meron kayong question, bigyan na lang po kayo sa hands. So, after the alteration, mag-jump naman tayo dun sa next function ng aming office, which is real estate project monitoring. Pursuant to Department Order 24-07, Series of 2024, amending the period of mandatory monitoring of real estate development project. So, in layman's term, kung babasahin lang po natin siya, ang magiging difference lang nun is, ito lang po, so, kumapas natin, ang register within the first year, dati po kasi, previously, ang project, pag issue ng license sa 76 months, kailangan i-monitor na agad. Ngayon po, pursuant to this bagong department order, ang mga projects po natin ay ini-inspection within 1 year upon the issuance of license to sell. Please take note lang po dito kasi po, kung makapansin natin, yung inspectorate natin, monitoring inspector natin, 1 year, within 1 year, may inspection po yung inspector natin para ma-validate and ma-check if continuous pa yung development ng isang condominium project or subdivision project or to check kung meron silang mga violations or kailangan ipatawan ng mga fines. So one of the function din po ng HRED or housing ng division namin is yung monitoring for the condominium and subdivision and other real estate project. So ano po ba ang purpose ng monitoring? So as I've said kanina, ano ba ang PNL 7 and BB220? It is the buyer's protection decree. So pinoprotektahan natin, hindi developer, pinoprotektahan natin yung mga buyer. And sometimes, ayaw rin yun. Nakakabis ng mga subdivision, condominium. So to promote the welfare and protection of the public, which is kasama po tayo sa public na yun. And to encourage and compel the owner-developer of subdivision and condominium project to comply with the requirements of the law. So, in layman's terms, sila yung check and balance. Kasi upon the issuance of certificate of registration and license to sell, alteration, sila yung mag-check kung na-comply ba yung mga relevant laws natin, yung mga restrictions natin. So part of the function din po yun ng aming division. So meron tayong 2 types of monitoring activities. So number 1, spot monitoring. Monitoring development project with or without clearance, permits, approval and other relevant real estate transaction, and regular monitoring, compliance, condition monitoring of the projects with issued permit, So, pansinin natin, dalawang type siya ng monitoring activities. Pero, ang titignan natin dyan, ang in common nila is kung meron bang permit o wala. Kung may mga clearances pa sila o wala. So, dun sa spot monitoring, kung makapansin po natin, hindi siya scheduled. As part ng monitoring unit natin, hindi siya scheduled. Like for example, napunta tayo sa isang mall, may nakita tayo nagbebenta ng mga leaflets, brochures. Ang tawag doon, spot monitoring, kasi hindi siya scheduled. Titignan natin, tapos like sa amin, sa division namin, i-encourage namin yung mga NGOs, mga stockholder natin, na kung gusto natin or meron tayong interest na bilhin ang isang real estate project, ni-encourage namin kayo to validate sa aming office kung meron pa siyang license to sell, kung ano ba ang status ng development. Kasi dyan natin makikita, yung mga ibibigay ng leaflets na yan, ibabalidate natin, number 1, kung meron bang approval sa aming office, yung project nila. Number 2, kung merong approval, yung advertisement approval listing na. Kasi part of monitoring process namin, yung pag-check kung ang isang advertisement approval ba is approved ng ating office. So it covers media, pwede anything na nagsisignify na gusto nila magbenta ng isang real estate project through leaflets, brochures, sa social media, pwede nyo i-validate sa aming office para magawa ng report. Yun yung sinasabi ng Engineer Christian kanina na pwedeng gawing table monitoring. So meron tayong evaluator, meron tayong inspector. So si evaluator, siya yung gumagawa ng table monitoring. So may mga instances, may mga nasasabihin sa amin, or may nagsasend sa amin ng mga brochures, binabalidate natin yun. Kung meron bang approval, kung nakalagay po yung mandatory requirements para sa issuance ng license to sell, and sa issuance ng approval. So nandun din po yun. So part of the function din po yun ng aming division. And then next, yung tinatawag natin regular monitoring compliance and condition. So dito naman sa monitoring mode na to, scheduled siya. So nagka-letter si monitoring unit natin na magkakaroon tayo ng schedule ocular inspection sa isang project to validate. Usually, yan yung tinatawag natin na within the first year upon the issuance ng license to sell. So supposedly, until such time na matapos ang isang project, continuous po yung minomonitor every year ng ating monitoring unit. Every year, inspection, binabalidate, chine-check kung compliance ba siya dun sa approved plans natin. So yung difference ng dalawa, regular monitoring as well as compliance dun sa license to sell natin. So part of table monitoring is pag-check kung compliance pa sila doon sa conditions na nakalagay sa license to sell. Kasi sa license to sell, nakalagay doon na kailangan quarterly mag-submit sila ng sales status report, sa completion date, minsan sa maximum selling price, sa economic and socialized housing. So part of the monitoring function po yan ng aming division para ma-sure na si developer ay sumusunod doon sa conditions indicated sa license to sell. Okay, essential factors in monitoring in real estate project. So yung binabanggit ko kanina, approved plans, development permit. So mahirap naman natang mag-inspect sa isang project kung wala kang hawak na approved plan at development permit. So kaya siya essential. Number 2, license to sell and certificate of registration. So, as I mentioned, meron tayong condition indicated sa license to sell, which is dapat compliance ng developer. At ang pinaka-importante din is yung sa date completion. Kung mapapansin po natin sa mga bagong license sale natin ngayon, naka-indicate na po dyan kung ano yung completion date ng isang project. So naka-identify po doon kung ano yung completion date ng isang development, depende na lang kung naka-cluster development siya. So pag cluster development, ma-identify doon kung anong building, kung ano yung sa project pa siya, tower 1, tower 2, depende kung ano yung naka-stipulate kung sa license to sell. Pero at the end of the day, ang pinaka-basis natin is yung completion date. Number 3, program development. So, prior to issuance ng license to sell, pinagsasabit natin si developer, owner-developer, ng program development or yung S-chart or yung plan chart. S-curve. Bakit? Para ma-validate natin kung ano ba yung actual development niya and yung development niya doon sa site. Kung meron na ba siyang slippage o wala, kung ano naging reason, kung bakit supposedly based on sa S-curve natin, dapat 10%, 20% na siya, pero based on sa actual, 0% pa siya. And please take note po sa isang subdivision, ang minimum development po natin is road tracing, clearing grabbing para may issuehan ng license to sell. And then, sa condominium naman po, ang minimum development natin bago may issue license to sell is excavation. So talagang dapat, meron na siyang development bago may issue yung regular license to sell. And ibang usapan naman kapag naka-temporal license to sell. So mag-focus po muna tayo sa regular. Kasi doon sa regular, may nakalagay doon na completion date kung kailan pinapangako ni developer na matapos niya or kinogomit niya na matapos yung isang condominium project. As well as the subdivision. Sa subdivision po natin, ang tawag na po niya ngayon, bundled na siya. So it means, pag sinabing bundled, ang completion date natin covers the housing construction and the land development. So dahil po yung sa codification natin, na-reiteration sa codification natin na one time lang po mag-issue ng certificate of completion ang regional office. So therefore, ang COC na yun or certificate of completion na yun is for the housing component and the land development. So kung natatandaan po natin dati sa mga licenses na natin, ang completion date is strict. Hindi naman siya strict, pero more likely ang ilalagay natin sa subdivision is land development lang. Kung kailan matapos yung land development. Dahil ang reason at that time, yung mga bahay is madaling mag-deteriorate. So, binubuo yung bahay kapag kami ng buyer. O kapag nag-sign na sila ng contract to sell. Pero dahil sa bagong department order po natin, bundled na siya. Kasama na yung bahay at lupa doon sa completion natin. So therefore, hindi may issue ng certificate of completion ang isang subdivision project kung hindi pa tapos yung bahay at yung lupa. Okay, next. Yung sa master deed, with the declaration of restriction, usually requirement siya para sa issuean ng condominium. Pero may mga subdivision ang gumagawa ng deed of restriction, which is, please take note, hindi po requirements para sa issuean ng license to sell sa subdivision ang deed of restriction. Sa condominium projects lang po required yung master deed and the declaration of restriction. Next, yung approved verified survey plan. Ito naman for subdivision plan. So as we all know, verified survey return, ina-aprobahan niya ng LMP under DNR. So dyan, naka-plot na yung subdivision plans natin, kung gaano kalaki yung lupa, yung kalsada, naka-identify na po dyan. So, one of the essential factor din yung for the monitoring natin. And then yung last, yung pinapakita ko po kanina is yung brochure, leaflets, flyers, billboard, and other advertisement. Any kind of advertisement basta merong real estate project, kailangan with approval ng aming office. Kasi kapag merong approval from the regional office, na-check po natin kung doon sa brochure na ba yun is nakalagay yung mandatory content bago mag-issue yung advertisement. So kung meron po kayong prospective real estate project or condominium subdivision na gustong i-validate, pwede nyo pong i-email sa amin para ma-check namin kung siya ay registered. Number 1, kung registered project. Number 2, kung register yung brokers and salesperson. Kasi one of the function din po ng aming division is yung pag-regulate, pag-register ng salesperson, brokers, and dealers. Okay, next po. So ano po ba yung process ng monitoring? So, binanggit ko po kanina, yung process, bago ma-inspect isang project, kailangan meron po ng license to sell. Or, sa stock monitoring, i-check kung meron pa siya license to sell by virtue ng table monitoring. Pero ito po yung regular process natin para sa monitoring natin. So, number 1, ocular inspection. So, nabanggit ko natin kanina, from 6 months, and na-mention ng 1 year. So, dapat within 1 year, after the issuance ng license to sell, ma-inspect siya ng monitoring inspector natin. So, yun yung first step para sa monitoring process natin. Ocular inspection. Number 2, notice of report alleged violation or notice of violation. So, kung may inspection siya ng ating monitoring unit at may nakitang violation or any paglabag dun sa rules and regulation ng PDEP 57, ayan po yung i-issue natin. Notice of violation or notice of report alleged violation. Next po, kung hindi pa siya nag-comply doon sa notice of violation natin, mag-order ulit ang aming office ng order of imposition of administrative sanction. So mamaya i-elaborate ko po yung mga nakalagay doon, yung mga possible violations. Number 4, final notice to comply, and then last, yung writ of execution. So, isa-isahin na po natin. So doon sa ocular inspection, monitors ng inspection for real estate development project. To verify compliance to approved plans, permits, and licenses. Prepare report and files. So, ibig sabihin, right after my inspection, gagawa ng inspection report si inspector. And then, ibibigay niya kay evaluator para gawa ng any orders. Or kung merong violation na nakita, kasama dun sa issuance ng notice of violation. So, talaga mag-start sa inspection report. So, if violation or non-compliance are found in the project, the regional office shall issue to the owner-developer a notice of reported alleged violation or notice of violation indicating the violation and non-compliance of possible fine sanction may be imposed. So, kapag may nakitang violation, si inspector, i-endorse niya yung may evaluator para kumuha ng notice of violation. I-address yun kay owner-developer so that they can comply. So, syempre, bibigyan natin ng chance si owner-developer na mag-explain, pero under oath within 10 days from the receipt of the notice of violation. So, bibigyan natin ng 10 days si developer para mag-explain with regards dun sa alleged violation na ipinataw sa kanya ng ating monitoring unit or ng aming division. So, ano ba yung mga possible violations? So, yung kanina na-explain ko, alteration of plan without prior approval or deviation from the approved plans. So, part of violation din po natin is yung gagawin na agad yung proposed plan bago i-apply ng alteration. Automatic po yun, magkakaroon agad tayo ng violations and corresponding sanction and fines. Dahil alteration without approval po is pinapatawan natin ng fines. Next, no advertisement approval. So, for example, yung kwento ko kanina, nagbigay ng leaflets, brochure, or anything, pero hindi approve ng aming office. Possible violation din po yan na pwede natin ipataw sa mga developer. Meron din corresponding fines yan kapag nahuhuli or nakita po o nakakuha tayo ng advertisement without approval. Okay, registration of dealers, brokers, salesperson, appraisers, and should. So, in-explain ko niya kanina. So, doon sa leaflets, may nakalagay na pangalan, ibabalidate po na ating monitoring yan kung register pa sa ating office. Kasi one of naman dito is yung mag-issue po ang division natin or ang office natin ng certificate of registration and IDs sa mga brokers and salesperson. And then, syempre, yung i-discuss ko kanina, yung time completion. So, one of the violation din yan. Like, for example, June na ng project to complete the development. Pero upon inspection, nakita, hindi pa tapos. So, kasama yan dun sa issue notice of violation. Other condition is stated in the license to sell. So, based on dun sa issuance ng license to sell natin, may mga certain condition doon na kailangan comply to developer. It will depend kung nakalagay doon kung quarterly, semestral, it will depend kung ano nakalagay doon sa condition ng license to sell. And ito yung pinakamabigat, yung no development permit and approved plans, lalo na kung no CRLS. As of now, kapag ka ang project mo is nahuli na nag-advertise without CRLS, ang minimum, okay, meron tayong minimum and maximum. Minimum fines is 3,000 per unit. Payat, no? Payat. 3,000 lang minimum. Tapos ang maximum natin is 10,000 per unit. Ang problema, dahil sa sobrang baba ng fines and penalties, nagbabayad talaga at developer. Kasi 10,000 lang eh. Nabibenta lang yung mga unit nila, 10 million, 8 million, compare sa 10,000 per unit na violation. So siguro magkakaroon pa ng adjustment sa mga fines na yan as time goes by. Next is, if the project has secured approval of the of plans and no permits of license to sell, issued are or shall include cease and desist order. So kung na-monitor siya at wala siyang permits, may issuean siya ng notice of violation with cease and desist order. Ano ba yung cease and desist order? To stop project selling, to stop advertising the project, and to stop collecting monthly compensation. So it will depend kung ano yung may issue, notice of violation, kung subject pa siya na masasamahan ng cease and desist order. So it will depend pa rin kung ano yung fine, kung ano yung violation na ginawa ng developer. So, after evaluation, inspection, issued ng notice of violation, hindi siya nag-comply, ang next step natin is mag-issue tayo ng OYAS or yung Order of Imposition of Administrative Sanction. So dito nakalagay na kung magkano yung dapat bayaran ng developer based on kung ano yung violation na ginawa niya. So ito yung third step. Kapag hindi siya nag-comply dun sa notice of violation, ang next step na is Order of Imposition of Administrative Sanction na with indicating the violation fine within the project and imposing fines, penalties, and other sanctions to the developer. So please take note, kapag meron kang OYAS, lahat ng project mo na in-apply, hindi lang sa isang specific regional office, lahat yun mahuhol. Until such time na makapag-comply ka dun sa OYAS na in-issue sa'yo. Okay, so once na na-issue yung OYAS, bibigyan ulit natin sila ng 10 days to comply. Upon receive. So another 10 days ulit para makapag-comply kung ano yung in-issue natin sa notice of violation as well as dun sa OYAS. So dun sa OYAS, naka-identify na kung ano yung violation mo as well as kung naka-CDO ka. Depende kung ano yung gravity ng violation mo. So meron tayong list of violations based on sa mga existing rules of regulation natin sa each and every bank. So after the issuance ng after the issuance ng OYAS, kung hindi ka pa rin nag-comply, magbibigay naman ng office ng final notice to comply. So dito sa final notice to comply, parang last warning na siya. Naka-identify doon kung ano yung mga violations. Like for example, yung malalaking developer, syempre, hindi lang naman sa NCR yung mga projects niyan eh. So, all throughout Philippines, may mga projects yan. So, until such time na ma-comply mo, kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa LOB, OYAS, and final notice mo, hindi mag-issuean ng any permits na naka-connect yung isang project na yun sa isang developer. Kasi nagkakaroon po tayo ng nationwide clearance. So doon sa nationwide clearance na yun, ma-identify namin doon pa lang sa application nyo kung meron kayong hit or kung meron kayong violation, outstanding violation doon sa ibang mga regions sa developers na ito. Then after, kung hindi pa talaga, ito na yung last na magiging action ng aming office. Yung rate of execution. Nakalagay pa rin dyan kung mga fines, penalties. So, therefore, ang daming chances na nabinigay namin yung developer para i-comply niya kung ano yung regulatory documents na kailangan niya i-comply. So, kapag hindi pa siya nag-comply sa rate of execution, possibly, suspension ng license to sell mangyayari. So, yun po yung file process natin sa monitoring. So, yun. So this is my last report. Para sa alteration and sa monitoring ng real estate project. Thank you po.